Okay, welcome to the stream, ladies and gents. And the swamp creatures are out en masse at the moment. They are really getting shaken up. So much to cover, so many updates from the last week. We've been talking, of course, about the US AID or US aid, if you prefer. All of this stuff, it's getting deeper and deeper, and we're finding so much. And really, the people who have been receiving this money are fighting back big time. Let's go over all of the stories today. But let's begin with, you remember on my last video, actually, I was talking about these politicians who have net worths of staggering amounts, 250 million, 200 million, 150 million dollars. And yet, where did this money come from? This is the mystery, of course. Well, one that just happened, here we go. This just happened. This was brilliant. Let me play this for you here.
Senator Warren, I just want to answer a question. How did you get a $12 million net worth on a $200,000 salary in Congress?
Thank you.
How did you do that?
Excuse me.
How did you do that? You can keep trying to block my camera. We're on a public sidewalk. So, Senator Warren.
So this went absolutely crazy. So I thought this was brilliant that people have started going to these politicians now, confronting them in the street, trying to do an interview, finding out where did this money. And by the way, the figure he quoted was way off. I've done the research for you. I've looked into quite a few of these people, but I'm not going to go through them all. You can look at this for yourself if you actually want to. But I looked at Elizabeth Warren for you, and here we go. It was initially reported from U.S. Rep. Derek Van Orden. He's a Republican from Western Wisconsin. On the 31st of January 2024, he stated that Elizabeth Warren has a net worth of 73 million US dollars as of 2025. So if you look through, I'm just going to bring up her filings because they have to make declarations. So here are some of their here's the filing from 2018, which is the last declaration. It was roughly 11 million. So how it went up all the way to, here it is here, 73 million. If this is accurate, this Republican politician, where he got the figure, I'm not sure. But if we go through a lot of the figures here, you can see where has this staggering amount of money come from? Well, I started going through a lot of the other details on this. So here is, in fact, let me just share my screen so you can see what I'm seeing here. So here's Elizabeth Warren, and there's all these stories that are trying to protect her. In 2023, she posted, these were her earnings apparently, because she has to make a financial disclosure, $36,263.61 in royalties from her books and $85,975 from her retirement accounts. Her mutual funds were valued at least 1.76 million, and she and her husband held 4 joint bank savings accounts totaling $215,000. Yeah, I don't believe that. The mutual funds range from 1 to 5 million, but we know this is just not accurate at all. They suffered significant losses in the 2008 crash. In 2018, Forbes put her net worth at $12 million. So how much does she make as a senator? $174,000 a year. So you ask the question, well, where did all this money come from? They don't answer it. So they put all these articles out. This is from Forbes here. They said, well, this is how they made the money. Warren's husband, Man, has made most of his money in the last decade from his work at Harvard, where he Why is it always legal scholars at Harvard, right? Wasn't this Samantha Power's husband? I just made the connection again. There's like 4 of these women, and their husbands are legal scholars at Harvard. It's crazy. Okay, he earned about $400,000 in 2018. So all of their filings are 2018. Well, where's the last 7 years, you ask? I don't know. We can't seem to find it. He has only earned about $5,000 since 2008 from his sole proprietorship. Man and Warren have also gotten richer just by living in Cambridge. They said they bought the home in 95 for 447,000. Today it's worth 3 million. Well, again, it doesn't explain any of this. It doesn't answer this question at all. Where has all of this money come from? Now, I want to move on to the next point, because you've probably seen that this judge, his name's John D. Bates, has been blocking President Trump and Elon Musk and just putting blocks on everything. So I started looking into him, and the media isn't telling you this, but I started looking into him. And I started just doing random searches, because this is sometimes what you have to do when you're doing this research work. You have to just randomly type things into whatever search engine you're using to see if there is a link. So what did I type in? I typed in January 6th. Guess who one of the judges was? John D. Bates. I started typing in all sorts of other stuff. Who keeps coming up? John D. Bates. So he has just done another block. So you probably are aware of this block. He blocked all the gender stuff. Let me just read it out. George orders the CDC, FDA to restore websites taken down after Trump gender order. So the websites weren't taken down. They just took off the LGBT stuff, right? So here it is, John D. Bates. He granted a restraining order temporarily reversing the Trump admin's move to remove scientific data. This is what they are calling it. So I went a little bit deeper on this. Federal judge denies effort to block Doge from accessing DOL data despite the concerns. Who was the judge yet again? It was the same judge. Here he is, John D. Bates. Now, we start looking through all of this and we say, that's interesting. Who is this gentleman? I started looking. Okay, first thing I've got to do, I've got to find out who his wife is. His wife is Carol Ann Reese, also a former lawyer. Oh, this is crazy. They all seem to be lawyers. What did I then start looking into? Well, who is Carol Reese? She is the founder and president of, here it is, Hope for Children. And by the way, you have to use the archive or the Wayback Machine, because a lot of this has been scrubbed. So then what do? I taught you this in my last video. You go over to usaspending.gov and you start putting in these organizations and what I can't actually do it because look, there is a bug affecting the recipient filter at the moment, which is perfect timing or what. But what happens then? We start looking through all of this, and what are we finding? It's the same situation. US aid was going to her organization. Are we seeing that? You see how this is all connected? We talked about World Economic Forum, United Nations, WTO, WHO, Gates Foundation, Soros Foundation, the Clinton. They're all interconnected. So now we're starting to see, and people, this isn't just me doing it now. I think this is amazing that we've got just normal, everyday citizens. Everyone's going out now and they're looking into this stuff. Everyone's finding out. They're going on the street and they're saying to the senators, the politicians, hey, how are you worth $73 million or whatever she's worth? How are you worth this amount of money? Now, that guy was taking the 2018 figure of $12 million. Again, this is what we are now seeing. And one other, here we go as well. I don't know if you subscribed to the channel yet, but if you haven't, this is just going crazy. I've gone from 444,000 up to 481,000 just in the last week or so. I think it's the last 10 to 12 days. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Now, this is another thing that has just broken. So this was yesterday then, 17 hours ago. Trump loses bid to pause judge's order barring the funding freezes. Again, if you look into this, you look who is the judges that are doing all of this, it's all connected. This is what they have basically done, is they have weaponized the system in a way that you look at all the money as well and all of this funding, and you say, all this crazy stuff that's been going on and being forced onto other places around the world, like, how is this even possible? It doesn't make sense, right? And then you realize, well, it does if you follow the money. Because what do you need to enforce a lot of these things that people are never going to go along with? You need money. So how do you raise the money? You either get it from the taxpayers' funds and you put it through as all this stuff they've been putting it through. A gas station in Afghanistan that costs $50 million or whatever it was I talked about the other day, when actually it should have cost $500,000. You look at the tens of millions for these schools in Pakistan and other places, and the schools are just blocks of concrete with nothing in it. They have been using all this money and funneling it to these media organizations in order to then, the media organizations to then put all of this into the public domain to brainwash people into, even look at right now. Doge at the minute has got a 60% approval rating. They just did a US-wide survey, 60% approval rating. And you start saying, well, who on earth are the other 40% that don't want Doge uncovering all, I know it's a stupid name, but I'm just going to use it, uncovering all of these scandals and this money laundering and all of this fraud and all of this wastage? Who are these people that don't want that uncovered? It's not as if, right, this is the argument I keep hearing. Oh, well, they're going to block all of this aid going around the world. No, that's not what they're saying. They're putting a temporary freeze on, and you can read this on the website. It's all in the plans. There's a temporary freeze so that they can then go through and look at all of these payments and see what's efficient, what's fraud, whatever else. And then they're going to put in place again a lot of the payments once they verify it. So all this stuff that people are spewing, they're uninformed. They haven't actually done the research and looked through a lot of this stuff. So that is where we got to. Okay, we got to the Trump part here. Then we've just had this come out. So this is breaking news. This is just broken.
So clarifying that the government can limit access to federal funds on the basis of the applicable authorizing statutes, regulations, and terms. Essentially, yes, the government can do so in complying with regulations. And then that the previous order does not bar both the president and much of the federal government from exercising their own lawful authorities to withhold funding without the prior approval of the district court, meaning, again, they can disperse the monies that they were allocated within the law, within the confines of the law.
Okay, so this is correct. So this was, again, the weaponization of the judicial system. This is what they have done. And it's been overturned, which is good. But there's way more stories. I don't know if you've seen the story of Hunter Biden that's come out now. And it's been, okay, so the DOJ, this is a statement, by the way, from the DOJ. And it was via the DOD as well. The DOJ has officially admitted that Hunter Biden took bribes from a corrupt Romanian oligarch to sway US policy through his father. So this is what has just been announced by the DOJ via the DOD. And people will say, oh, I don't, but why would they announce this? Why would they, why would they put this out there if it's not true? And there's all this documentation. We've actually got documentation on this. Actually, I've got to show you another thing. This was what I noticed all week. All these newscasters are saying constitutional crisis. So remember what I taught you last year. Whenever you see this, you have to look at the media outlets that are saying it, and then you know who is being paid. So you got NPR, New York Times, CNN. It's all the ones you'd expect. WSJ, Brookings, The Hill, Washington Post. So, and again, I'll just prove this to you here. I know I've played this for you before, but watch this.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are
okay, this goes
to tell you that gas prices.
This goes on and on.
Gas prices are back on the
to tell you gas prices are on the rise. I know.
This goes on and on and on, and then Here's another one.
Factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny.
Economic factors may take some
Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take
spring out of the Easter Bunny this year.
Economic
on.
factors may
And on.
Easter Bunny step this year.
And on.
Economic factors may take some spring out
This year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the
You get the idea. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Now, the other thing that links in with a lot of this, if you've never seen that before, you're probably thinking, "What did I just see there, Neil?" I know this is how it's done, right? This is how it's all connected. But the big one, I think, which was yesterday's breaking news. Obviously, I wasn't streaming yesterday. Was about this $59 million. I mean, heads are rolling at FEMA at the moment. So the $59 million payment, I was reading all the very, very hard left news on this just to see what they were saying. And they said this $59 million payment, they said this is, hold on, here it is. It says that migrants are not housed in five-star hotels in Manhattan. They're not even housed in hotels. It says they are in vast warehouses and where's the other one? Vast warehouses and tents, it says, which we know is absolute nonsense. Where are these tent cities that apparently government in New York City and these warehouses? I can't believe. The New York City Mayor's office said it received $81 million in payments from the federal government for immigration-related costs last week in two separate pieces, one for $59 million, another for $19 million. So it was an average of $152 a night for hotel rooms. This has been confirmed. And yeah, and it says that there was a number of five-star hotels. In fact, I'll show you this is in black and white here. There were a number of five-star hotels in Manhattan, which were $400 a night to well over $1,000 a night. Now, the other one is New York Times running this story, saying it's misleading the claims that FEMA had used disaster relief funds for migrant services. And this is the funny thing with news outlets like this. So they put out these statements and say it's misleading, it's not true, all this other stuff. But then you sort of go into it, right? And you start reading the story, and they don't say why it's not true. So they rely on people who are not sort of forward thinking and critical to just read the story, and then they say, "Oh, look at that. They said it's not true. So that's that. I guess it's not true then because this news outlet says it's not true." And then they don't explain anywhere. Okay, and then it talks about FEMA as well. This is another article. And that President Trump is saying it needs to be eliminated. Has he said that? I'm not exactly sure. He may have done. But there's a $33 million budget. And if you look at that budget, where is that money going to? They're going to start looking into this now. And this is why the judges are blocking it. They don't want them to start looking into this $33 billion budget. Now, we know that all of this money has been flowing all outside, all around the world. And yet you look at average people, citizens who are paying their taxes, and this is their money. And when there's disasters, the hurricane, was it Helena, all these massive disasters that took place. We had in Ohio, you remember the chemical fires, the train fires, and all this other stuff. And what do they get? Do they get all the help that they should get? FEMA saying there's no budget, we just can't help everyone. And yet they're paying $1,000 a night for hotels. Now, if you're an American, you're probably outraged and shocked by this. But for my UK subscribers, please drop a comment below, because they'll tell you, we've been going through this for years. We've known about this for years. And the citizens put so much pressure on the government that they had to empty all of these luxury hotels. And another really bad thing that happened was, and this happened to me, my friends, members of my family, we would book hotels and we would turn up at those hotels and they would cancel, or they would cancel it a few days before, saying that there was training events and all sorts of other stuff. And then we end up on the outskirts of the city, and you have to take a, taxi or an Uber or whatever else in. And you actually go to those hotels and it's not closed. It's because they're housing people in it, the migrants coming in. So this is one of the issues. And I think people are going to go crazy once this story gets sort of mainstream attraction around it all. It's absolutely outrageous. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I stream here 3 days a week. Welcome to the 40,000, or what is it now? What are we on? We are on, let's have a quick look. Here we go, 481,000 subscribers now. So thanks so much. Yeah, keep it going. Let's keep it rolling. And take care. God bless you all, and I'll see you next time.